Hey guys, welcome back to Hustlin Horsepower. Today we're getting our 33 Dodge up on the chassis jig. Well, I guess it's still just a 4-post lift nut right now, but make sure to follow along on this build. This car is a replacement to the Dirty 30 that we lost in a pretty bad accident in the spring of 2020. But fortunately enough, I walked away, so we're getting back after it. Big tire, small tire, no prep racing, fastest street car stuff, hell, maybe even some burnout competitions. Make sure to like and subscribe and hang on for one hell of a ride. This car's going to be pretty freaking wicked. So guys, first step here is pulling this 1933 frame out from underneath the car. We already did some fabrication work to it to strengthen it up, but right now it's basically just a 1933 frame. So before we did that, we had the car lined up at ride height, the approximate height that it's going to sit at when it's sitting in not in motion. That's basically the distance from the frame to the bottom of the ground. Now this part is somewhat critical, but not overly, doesn't have to be overly accurate. It's just a roundabout number, so we know where it needs to be before we start doing any major modifications or any major fabrication. So this stuff right here is just some miscellaneous blocks of wood, some miscellaneous pieces of metal to get it to approximate height before we make our permanent structure to hold the thing before we do our major fabrication work.
Yeah. Listen to homeboy.
I don't even know if it fits by like a 1/16 of an inch, homeboy, okay? You got luck.
Oh, look at that.
I want to put it a little bit farther back. Forward. That's me close.
Where's our tape measure?
As you guys saw in the earlier videos, I made some bracing in the body here before we went and cut the top off. Also, in the beginning of this video, I rearranged it a little bit to get a little step more centered pickup point. Now we just got this on the normal engine hoist, and we're walking this thing onto the frame. Now, the body's pretty flimsy, as you can see here. It's moving around a little bit, and it's a little bit sketchy. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing it this way, but hey, it's what we got and what we have to work with. This thing is a 1933 Dodge Humpback that I cut the top off. We're going to be doing some pretty cool stuff with it. Now, if you remember the old K5 Blazers or old Broncos that had a removable rear top, well, I guess I won't say no more. You guys can keep thinking from there. But I got some pretty wild ideas up my head. So guys, this thing's going to be a twin-turbo big block Chevy. I'm building a fabricated 9-inch for it, and it'll have a Vickers Performance Turbo 400 in it. Now guys, we do some big tire and small tire racing. We do some no prep racing. We do some fastest street car stuff. And we'll even be doing some pretty cool exhibition events with this deal. Hell, you might even see this car in SEMA if the things work out like they just might. So guys, this thing's gonna be a pretty bad donkey. Now, if you're wondering where that saying comes from, my little nephew watches these videos religiously, so I can't say bad ass too often. You'll see coming up here real soon that I start cutting off the rear section of the frame. It's going in the scrap pile, junk, whatever you want to call it. We ain't using it. It's heavy, it's bulky, and it ain't needed. We'll be doing a 4130 chrome moly tubing back half, but it's going to be your old school back half, not these modern day firewall back cars. We're going to be using the factory 1933 frame all the way up until behind the driver. Then, from there on back, we'll be bending up some tubing in one of these future videos here. Well, guys, we're just short of fitting a full 24-foot length inside the bus. Might need to get a bigger one here, but I'm prepared. I brought a sawzall, tape measure. We'll lop off a couple feet here, and we're back in business. Yes, guys, the spool bus is the only form of transportation right now. After the accident, we had to make a lot of life changes. I sold my dually pickup truck, sold off a bunch of stuff I didn't absolutely need, and made a lot of life changes, I guess you could say. 2020 was a hard year, but I put my head down, ground harder, and started making things work. The 30 did us well. I love that car. I put a lot of hours into it, built that thing from absolutely nothing, just a factory 1930 Plymouth, to a pretty bad mamma jamma. Pretty cool stuff we did with that car, but hey, this 33 should make a lot of memories as well. The spool bus, this thing's badass. I don't know if it's meant to be a daily driver. I get some weird looks pulling into work or driving down the road, going to the grocery store, putting groceries in my school bus, but hey, this thing's from North Carolina, rust-free. It's an LBZ, 6-speed Allison C5500 school bus, and it pulls like a damn mother. Hey, we sleep in it too, so it works out all right. Oh, man. Well, guys, I guess that didn't work. Maybe we'll be able to hook up the dog's leash. Oh, that's too much. I ain't going nowhere. Famous last words, Nick. All aboard! Let's go build a race car. Well, guys, after I got back from picking up some metal, I made up some jigs, but we'll save that video for a little bit later. Right now, we're getting to it before I have to head in for overtime. I got a little over an hour before I have to head in, and it's time to knock this out. Right now, we're setting up the chassis, the frame rather, at the proper ride height, and then we'll go and work at the body. Now, this is a little bit critical. You have to make sure this stuff's pretty freaking right, and make sure everything correlates with itself. Now, if you have the angle of the body and the chassis not right, well, it's going to look pretty damn goofy. So, you got to make sure you check all these measurements before you start. If not, it adds a little bit of time to when you go to start mounting the body and building your cage. Things just might not line up. And at that point, well, you're just kind of screwed. So do it right from the beginning. I'd say that's about simple. Well, I think we'll be even closer when we set the front, but the front's not really set right now. My measuring stick. Bang. Aluminum piece. Just get up there. Man, we just scratched our new hot rod. What do you want me? You let me know when this line lines up with 37 and a half.
So that's gonna be 37.
What line?
This line.
This
This.
right here.
This lip right here is this go there. Okay? On this third button.
We should push it in with the other. Yeah. Okay. Put it on the other side.
Hey, hurry up. Donnie's holding this whole fucking thing.
Nick! A little bit higher. That's pretty good on my side.
About 34 and a half.
Should be the same on both sides.
It's a good thing you're tall.
I'm not tall.
Why didn't we?
You took my shirt.
No, I didn't.
Here's a silver one.
Why didn't we just lower the lift a little bit?
Woo! Now we're cooking with Frisco. What was that?
I gotta blame the
That's 69, right? 34 and a half to 69.
Yes.
$9.50, Nick.
Not a bit.
I'm just letting you know.
Well, guys, you heard the lady. It's 9:50 p.m. and it's time to hit the scramble button. I have to be to work at 10:30 p.m. So that means we got about 17 minutes left of working in the garage. Yeah, I call it pretty close sometimes. You got to get every last minute out of the day. We have a good friend over, and we're taking full advantage of it. Don Foss has helped us out a whole lot in previous situations, and he's over once again tonight, being our little bit of an engine hoist here. The body's pretty flexible. It's a little bit of a jalopy, but with a little bit of bracing, we'll be able to secure this up and get the body situated so we can start working on the chassis. Thinking, someone did this. We'll do that with that long clamp. This. Just to hold it temporarily. Yeah, sorry, that's really nice. That's what my intentions were. I'm just all fucked up. So, let me go and measure this real quick, okay? And then, let me see that measuring stick. Alright, we're at 30, we're about 33 and a half, I'll say, okay? 33 and a half, we need to go to 37 and a half, so we need to go up 4 inches. So we need to be 4 inches higher than that. So do you want to do it that way, or did you want to lift this up 4 inches and then just drop this on top of it? Do you want to just cheat this up 4 inches? And then pivot it and drop the body on it? Alright? So we're going to do this, ready? You think you can hold it? Yeah. Okay. Let's go up.
She's gonna hold it. She's gonna hold it and clamp it while you measure it.
Ready? We'll go.
No, you go up there.
Okay. Little form. Right. No, we can do it this way. If you want, either way.
Where's that marker?
You want right there. Actually, pretty fucking close. That's 2 1/4 remaining.
Yeah.
guys, we're going to call that good for tonight. We got it up in there. It's pretty stable. We'll end up welding that here in the morning. But for now, I got to rush off to work. Come back in a few days to check it out. We'll get another video posted up here shortly. This thing's going to be pretty freaking cool. Make sure to like and subscribe. We're doing a full build series on this ride. And after that, we're on for one hell of a journey.